Marcus Crowick is a business coach, profit-first professional, and entrepreneur with over 40 years of experience helping business owners take control of their finances and build profitable, stress-free businesses. In this podcast, you'll get real-world strategies and practical insights to grow, increase profits, and create financial stability. Whether you're a tradie, a startup, or an established entrepreneur, Marcus's straightforward approach will help you build a thriving business. This is Business Unlocked.
I'm here today with a dear friend of mine who I've known for quite a while, coming up to about 20 years. She's best known for one particular thing in Australia, but I knew Julie before she got there. Co-owner, director of a business that's been around now for over 20 years, based on the central coast of New South Wales. About a dozen employees, your premises, beautiful premises here in Gosford. Best known, though, because you took your love of cooking to a reality TV show and went on to win the first series of MasterChef in Australia. Welcome, Julie Goodwin.
Thank you very much, Mark. It's lovely to be here.
We're going to talk about business today, lessons in business, and I trust actually from my knowing you that people are going to take away some good lessons that they can use in their business and in their life. But MasterChef, a surprise for you along the way. I don't imagine when you're at school you're thinking, one day I'm going to grow up and I'm going to go on a reality TV show and win it.
No, that was not on the bingo card. And actually cooking for a career wasn't on the bingo card either. I love doing it in my spare time, or not my spare time. I love doing it for my family and for my friends on the weekend, but I never saw myself as moving into hospitality as a career. So yeah, it was all quite a twist.
The reason that comes up for me, and people might wonder why have Julie, who's best known for being a cook, on the podcast, but from our discussions, you took a lot of lessons from life and business along to MasterChef that you implemented in the show at the time to help you get to that stage and win it.
Oh, so many. I'd met you in a business networking group, and always with running Loyal I.T solutions, it was of great interest to me to grow the business and to understand business. We were pretty new business owners when I met you, and I just really wanted to learn as much as I could. I had on board all this sort of business stuff that I'd learned and that I'd been implementing in the business and successfully implementing in the business. And so when I went on to MasterChef, it was like I had this little grab bag of business tricks that I actually found really relevant in that kitchen.
Yes.
In business, we talk about knowing your target market. On MasterChef, my target market was almost all of the time Gary, Matt and George. So I needed to learn what they wanted from us. And just as a business owner, you need to learn what your potential clients need and want from your business. I needed to learn what those guys needed and wanted. And by observing and listening and taking on board the things that they said and noticing stuff, I was able to really figure out what dishes would make them happy. And it was interesting because they each had different things that they liked.
Yes.
So what I learned from Gary was that he loved crispy things and like puddingy stuff, like yummy desserts, sweet things.
So you get the crack of the cream brulee thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. He loved like crunchy potatoes or crispy noodles, or he loved crunchy stuff and sweet stuff. And then there was George, is a kind of fine dining chef. And so he loved things to be done in a particular way. Like he liked his beans to be topped but not tailed and stuff like that. And also he had a real aversion to chili. Like he would eat it. He would eat it because it's part of different cuisines and he had to taste it. But if anything was too loaded with chili, he would just start sweating like a sprinkler. And so I knew not to make anything too overly spicy. And the thing that I really took from Matt and his interactions with all the contestants when he would eat food is he really appreciated a story. So he liked to know why this dish, where it's come from, what memory you associate with it. So I really think that it was working with Matt or cooking for Matt that started me down the pathway of integrating food and story, which is really what I do now. Is the stories that we tell with food. So
that's a really interesting one for me when it comes to the business. And there's already 27 things come up that I want to ask you about. and we'll get to them at some stage, maybe not today. The first part there, I say to people in sales, they buy for their reasons, not yours, which is like the target market idea, isn't it? You've got to work out what it is your audience wants. Yeah. Or otherwise, if you're a Red Bull or an Apple, come up with something so new and convince them that they didn't even know that they wanted that.
Yeah.
But that's a bit harder in what you're doing.
Yeah.
They'd have what you were doing. They would have had preconceived ideas about what things should taste like. I see that on
absolutely, but that's the same with business too. They always say that you're in the trickiest spot where you have to educate the public or educate your potential clients. If your potential clients already know what they want or what they're missing, what their pain points are that they need addressed, then it's a lot easier to meet those needs. So it was the same with the judges. They knew what they wanted.
Yeah. And my definition of marketing is communication and education. And I say that's to everybody, that your staff members as well as yourself. You're always communicating and educating yourself on what the business is, what it is you do. Those pain points take you back a bit to Loyal IT and what in the marketplace, because I often think people don't understand those pain points for their customers. We get what I call a first level benefit or feature.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about features. They don't talk about what it actually does for people and address their real pain. On MasterChef, you were referred to as the marketing manager, I think, of Loyal.
No, actually the little siren at the bottom of the screen described me as an IT consultant, which was a cause of great hilarity, of course, amongst the actual IT consultants who knew very well that I am not.
Yeah. So you took that along there. What impact do you think that had on winning challenges, how the judges started to regard you?
Oh, look, it gave me some clarity in when I was decision making, what to make and how to approach it and how to communicate what I'd done. And there are so many other little business lessons that come into that. So in MasterChef, you have to meet a brief. You're given a very clear brief. You've got to use this ingredient. You've got this amount of time and you've got to create something from this culture. It's rabbit. It's Italian. You've got 30 minutes, whatever. So very clear KPIs.
And so that's not really that different in a way to I'm coming out to fix your air conditioner and I've got to do these 5 things to get that done.
At the end of it, the air conditioner's got to work. I've got to have cleaned up my space and I've got to present you with
and I probably got to have done it in a
reasonable amount of time and present you with a fair invoice. Yeah. That's exactly right. So there's those KPIs. So meeting a brief and hitting your KPIs, that's part of it too. But one of the other things that really struck me, so when I was learning how to business and how to, all the things involved in business, from staffing through to, servicing your clients isn't one part of business. It's all the things. I read a lot. So I've got bookshelves of books about business and all that sort of stuff. I was struggling in MasterChef with my nerves. Yep. So I couldn't get over my nerves. And what that was doing for me was it was clouding my head and I was making some pretty questionable decisions. And so I don't know if you remember, Marcus, but I ended up in a lot of the pressure tests on that season. I ended up being called the Eliminator because I made it into so many of those pressure tests. And the reason for that was quite often that I could not make a decision quickly and I would flip-flop and then they come around to your bench and they question what you're doing and question whether you...
And that must have put some extra pressure on.
It was designed to put extra pressure on it and it worked. And so I often would second-guess myself and it was in the flip-flopping that I found I messed up the most. I wasted the most time. I made the most mistakes. And I jumped back to something that I've always done when I'm not sure how to manage something, and that's I read about it and I try and learn about it. Yes. And I happen to have a book with me in the house called Blink, and it's by Malcolm Gladwell.
Fantastic author.
He has written some awesome books. I think he's best known for The Tipping Point.
Yeah.
But one of my favorites is Outliers.
Yeah, wonderful
fantastic book. And the one Blink, the whole premise of the book Blink is that your first instinct is quite often the correct one.
Trust your brain.
Trust your gut.
Your gut, yeah.
And now, even now, and this is years after he's written this book, now they're saying that your gut has its own brain and that there are receptors, things inside your actual gut.
Yes.
and your heart.
And they talk about heart math now, though.
Heart and heart coherence and all that sort of stuff. So he said that there are tens of thousands of pieces of information that feed into what we call a gut instinct. And so what feels like just a little twinge is actually a very well-informed set of information. And so he said, if you can trust your blink. And so I took that on board and I thought, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to blink it. And so I would lift the lid off the mystery box and whatever first occurred to me, that was it. That was my rule from then on in.
Yeah.
I am not going to second guess. I'm going to trust my blink. And that took away so much indecision. The lessons for me there were obviously to trust your instinct, but also if you don't have an answer for something, I didn't know how to get a handle on my nerves. If you don't have an answer to something, there'll be a book about it. Yeah. There'll be a way to educate yourself about it. Well, nowadays there'll be a podcast, there'll be a YouTuber, there'll be something out there that can fill that gap in your knowledge. You don't have to reinvent wheels. You don't have to feel your way blindly in the dark through anything anymore. We're all connected now via the internet. It's not even as hard as finding a book about it, although I still think that's a preferable way for learning. I love books.
I think it has a different effect on your brain when you, for me, even handling a paper-based book rather than reading an ebook like a Kindle type thing. I think that has a different effect on my brain.
Yeah, okay, because I'm right into Audible books.
Oh, yeah.
I love Audible books. I read a lot more now because I don't have to sit still with both my hands occupied holding a book. I'm consuming a lot.
I understand. I think there's a part of that. It's like you say about the gut, that all of our senses have so much more to them than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
So I like holding the book. I don't know, it does something.
Yeah. Oh, there'll be neural pathways in your brain.
Yeah. So the blink response, again, so there's a message there for people. Trust what your brain is telling you or your body is telling you, that instinct straight away. Yeah. Did it take a bit of practice for you to get that in place?
No, I made a decision and I stuck with the decision. Yeah.
Okay.
I just thought this book, I don't know why I had it in my room. I must have picked it up and just thought, I haven't read that. I'll take that with me.
Yeah.
For some reason, that book was delivered to me at that time and I decided to trust the universal feel of that. This is obviously here for a reason. I'm going to read it. And it made perfect sense to me. And I didn't practice it, not in that environment. It's a very intense environment. I just made the decision. That's what I was going to do.
Did you have times where it didn't work out for you?
Oh, there's always going to be times where it doesn't work out for you.
Yeah.
But on a balance, it eased my nerves quite a lot because I just went, I'm trusting that. Like I didn't just say it, I did it. I didn't just go, I'm going to pretend I trust that. I just went. And I remember, so I would lift the lid and see an ingredient and go, I've got a recipe. I know how to make, I make that for dinner all the time. But then the doubt comes in. Will it be MasterChef worthy? Will it be fancy enough? Can I make it look nice on the plate? And all these things would just ruin what I initially thought. So I just made a decision to do that. And that really stood me in good stead.
So that's because I think using the blink response, the first thing that comes to our head doesn't happen very well for us. I don't know whether we're taught along the way not to do that, because I'll ask people those questions. I want you to tell me the first word that comes to your mind when I ask you this question, and people pause.
Yeah.
And that's because there's going to be something in your head.
Yeah.
Something will come there. If I said to you now, give me 3 things that you can do with a paperclip, something's in your head.
Trade it for a house.
Trade it for Craigslist.
Red paperclip.
Exactly. So something comes to your head. So in mine, it was poke someone's eyes out. That mightn't be the first thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's violent.
Yeah.
Most people flip paper with it.
I've had that question before posed in an audience.
Yeah.
And it was a matter of, there's the first response, but then there's the just let your brain go with all sorts of crazy things and see what you come up to. And I like movies with gunfights and things. So that comes along. So that's really interesting that you're able to trust that. And we're saying people should consider that in their lives. Are you actually taking notice of what your thoughts are telling you to do, or are you backtracking and you're coming up with all the logical reasons not to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's really interesting. I just want to take you back to what you said about Matt and the story of the food you were producing, because I think going along with the target market and people buy for their reasons, not yours, that story can be correlated in business as well. The story of what you do.
100%.
What are your thoughts on that?
I've got conflicting thoughts about that, because the story of what you do.
First thing that comes to your mind, obviously.
The thing that it's important to have a story. And here at Loyal I.T Solutions, we have a story. We've got a very strong backstory. We've got a code of honour that we live by. But I think that there's a risk that if you go in all about your story, then you're not leaving yourself open for the client's story. And I've had this. I've had potential people come to me when I might be the client, and all they want to talk about is themselves and their story. And it's like, this is all cool, but when are we going to get to the bit where I need you to do something for me and you're going to listen to what I need instead of telling me what you do? So it's important to have an identity. It's important to have a culture. It's important to have a code of honour, or your vision and your mission and all the things that give your business an identity and a shape and a sort of a feeling. When people hear your business name, they have an idea, a solid idea of who you are and what you do. But I also think that in the context of trying to service a client, that you need to be at least as open to their story as you are to sharing yours.
Yes, and what I was taking from you when you're talking about Matt and wanting the story was that created the experience for him.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And if you're dealing with your clients, So I always say when people go to a restaurant, so when you go to the really good restaurants, they understand the waiter is not there really just to bring you your food and clean up after you.
Yeah.
When you go to great restaurants, you are there for the experience, the whole, I imagine, and I'm not good at this part, the whole what it looks like, the textures, all of those things, as well as the interaction of the people in the place, gives you an experience. That's the story I get from going to those places, isn't it?
It is. And I can tell you that some people love that full experience and other people want you to go away and let them eat. It's not everybody wants the story.
No, absolutely.
And I will illustrate that with the scorn that is heaped onto recipe bloggers if they give too much of a story before they jump into the recipe.
Yeah.
It's become almost a meme that I just want to know how much flour to put in it. I don't need to know how your grandmother trekked the Himalayas with a pan on her back and a grinding stone and ground the flour. Just tell me how much, so you can overdo the story.
Yeah. No, because I'm translating that to experience. What's my experience with the business? So what's the story I tell myself from my experience with the business? If I go to the local fish and chip shop and get my takeaway, I've got an experience of that. They're not going to be coming out with napkins and things and certainly.
But I guess they could tell you this is the local fish. This came in, the boat's out there on the pier. Came in this afternoon.
That's a bit of the marketing story in the background, and then there's the story I take from it. That's what I'm saying. There's two sides. And so
two sides to the story.
And where that comes from, if we take Loyal I.T, when they go along to see a client on site nowadays, there's an experience that they want those people to get that is not just, I've fixed your computer. That's if you don't fix your computer, we're in problem.
Yeah.
If the food's not good in the restaurant, we've got a problem. But as a client, I want the interaction I want again. And some of those people will be just fix the computer.
Yep.
Some of them will be, how's your day? They want to get to know the tech a little bit. That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. And that is part of what we do at Loyal I.T is we really encourage that kind of interaction. We encourage our techs to learn about the people that they're seeing. Just remember things about them. So next time you see them, you can say, oh, how's your dog? Did he get over his broken leg or whatever? Just to interact with people. And because there's the lifeblood of your business. Your client's the lifeblood of your business. And it's not about being the cheapest out there. It's so little is about being the cheapest out there. It's about having a connection. And especially now, and we're 16 years post MasterChef, especially now, the world can be a little bit disconnected and you can just jump on, you can Google what services you need. You can quite often, you can get your quotes without speaking to a human being.
Yes.
There are chatbots. It's all a little bit disconnected. So I actually think if you're in any kind of business where you've got an opportunity to interact either face-to-face or voice-to-voice with real human beings, capitalize on that, because that is a point of difference between you and the box movers who are just drop shipping stuff from anywhere else in the world without a single bit of human contact.
Yeah. And that's going to make that's the standout from the crowd moment for your business.
We need human interaction.
We do.
We need it. And we've actually got to actively seek it.
Yeah.
In this day and age and especially post-COVID, where we set the world up so we didn't have to FaceTime, had real FaceTime with people, where we didn't have to be in the same room as other people, where we social distanced on purpose. We've set the world up so that we don't have to have human contact. And I have concerns, broader concerns about the epidemic that's arising out of that pandemic, which is isolation.
Yeah, well, it's a really good point. And again, something I think you can always take the principle and transfer it into business. I attended a lecture 25 years ago from a young man at the time. He would have been 20 or so. And it was at a school, and he was talking about the fact that mobile phones had come along. But we were still on the Nokias where you had to press the button 3 times to text. But he was saying back then what we're producing is the most connected generation there ever has been, because a teenager can be at home in their bedroom chatting to their friend or calling their friend, but the most disconnected, because of isolation, disconnected generation at the same time. And now when you come to what we do nowadays, it's so easy to sit in the chair. I can be connected to everyone I know and everything I need to know, but still physically disconnected from those people. I wonder what that does to the emotional component of the connection, which is the real connection, isn't it? Like we talk about vibes and...
We do. And I'm not going to bash technology, because I actually think I've got connections with people who I would not have had any connection with whatsoever. And I think it's a beautiful thing that if I'm traveling, I can FaceTime with my granddaughter.
Yeah.
And
Isn't that wonderful now?
It is absolutely a gift, and it frees people, because I yearn for her when I'm not with her. The fact that I can FaceTime her means that I can actually go away and work or go on a holiday or whatever and still have that little... Otherwise, I think I'd be finding reasons to not go anywhere because I want to be with her.
Yeah.
So it's freedom in so many ways. It's just... it's like everything. It's balance, right?
Yes.
You've got to find the balance between I can be connected with people over this device that I carry in my pocket and is constantly with me, or I can get out and breathe fresh air and meet people and have a cold fizzy water down the park and let the dogs run and all that sort of stuff. It's a matter of balance. I heard someone point out to me that why wouldn't we be glued to our phones when you can look up anything you ever needed to know, listen to all your favourite songs, watch all your favourite movies, talk to anyone you ever want to talk to, all with this one little piece of technology that fits in your hand? Of course we're addicted to them. They have everything we need except for real human contact.
Yes.
And we cannot discount that. Looking at beautiful food photos on Instagram does not nourish your body, and it does not nourish your soul. Talking to people over FaceTime is not the same as giving someone a giant squeeze because you're happy to see them.
Yep.
So it's got its place. It's a marvelous thing. I am glad that I live in the era where we have this technology, but I also... it's one of my missions, Marcus, that is to gather people together, and specifically, obviously, for me, around a table.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think how that relates to business chat is that we still, where we can, and we're lucky enough to be in a business that has the opportunity to, I think it's still important, even when things can be done remotely, and they really often can in an IT business. It's still lovely to get out on the road and to see people face to face. And that is Mick's role, my husband Mick, whose business this is. That is his role. He loves being out on the road.
Yeah. And I'll be talking to Mick episode, because Loyal, there's lots and lots of great things about Loyal IT that I think people can learn from. So I'll be talking to him. It's a good lesson in there for businesses. What we see now, if I again take another tradie business, it's going out on the road. They're using ServiceMate, one of those programs. You've booked your call in through that, and everything happens through the electronic digital stuff, that technical word stuff. And there is that part of where is that connection with the actual people that are doing it. You still need to have that. Because I actually think you can be over-systemized in that digitally systemized, I should say. There's still systems. I'm not a great fan when it's somebody I know and they send me a Calendly link, choose a time to come and have a drink with me. And like, well, it's not really a business appointment. Yeah. But that's just me, and I am getting older and older. But I really like that.
You say choose a time, just make sure it's not too loud.
Again, if we go back to sales, it's a really important point, and it probably goes all the way back to the story and the target market of the judges at MasterChef buying into you. There's that point of that's what they've got to do, is ultimately buy into you. In sales training, we talk about the first thing that people buy, the first item you've got to check off is you as the person. We talk about know, like, and trust in business. Yeah. And if I'm selling to you, I tell a story about somebody coming to our place to do an awning. And well, Deborah picked the person on the first visit because that's who she got on with. That's who she now knew because they'd been there. Liked enough and trusted enough.
There's your blink.
Yeah.
There's your blink. There's going to be a reason why you go, I'm going with them, even if they're dearer.
And that's what happened in that case. Yeah. We had 3 quotes. They ended up actually being the middle one. They were also the only person who continually followed up because they wanted me there to do the sales pitch. And I don't really care. Yeah. I'm just going to pay the money. My wife has said that person. So, all right. So we've got a few messages today. Pick your target market.
Yep. Know your target.
Know your target market.
Yep.
Know what they're about and what they want so you can cater to them.
Meet your brief.
Your brief.
Yeah. Manage expectations, meet the briefs and connect with human beings whenever you can.
Yeah. The meet the briefs, I'll talk about that in another episode because we can do a whole episode just on what's involved in meeting the brief and standing out from the crowd. There's a few messages in there for people to take away, and we'll mention it on social media, but we will mention, we're going to come to this in another episode, your book, Your Time Starts Now. Lots of lessons in there about all sorts of things, business, life, tells your story, lots to take away. I actually highly recommend it for people. Have the tissues out. We'll go into that another time as well. Julie Goodwin, thank you very much for being here today.
Absolute pleasure, and always.